Welcome back, Elden Ring fans, to another video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about my theory for Messmer in Shadows of the Erdtree. Now, Shadows of the Erdtree will be coming out on June 21st of 2024, so we have a little under a month to wait to see this DLC. Now, we don't have very much information on this new character. We do, however, speculate that he is possibly related to Marika. A lot of people have drawn this conclusion because he is looking more like a demigod sitting in a demigod-esque throne, which could draw some conclusions, that could put him in with Marika. But when watching the trailer, I see that they're kind of acting as separate forces. They're not on the same factional side. They're different factions. The Omens are attacking Messmer, and from a more cinematic experience, you never see Messmer and Marika in the same shot, and I think that's kind of her point. She doesn't want you to know she has a connection with him. But what does Messmer have a connection with? If Messmer is her child, wouldn't he have a great rune? And what would this great rune be? Well, obviously I'm going to make this connection because you'll very well see how good of a connection it is. Here we have a perfect shot of Messmer's flame, a black flame with some tints of gold coming off of it, little speckles here and there. Now, what is going on with Messmer if he is connected to Marika? If he's a demigod, if he's truly her child, doesn't he have a great rune? And if he does, what great rune would he have? What would he be contributing to the Elden Ring? In every shot we see him, everything is dying, and his flame is always noticeable. Even in this shot, I believe, his flame is noticeable. And yes, if you're able to put the theory and put the idea of his flame being the same, you can come up with my theory of him owning or possessing, at one point, the Great Rune of Death. I think that that's exactly what's going on. I think that's the reason why he's not part of the normal lands between, why he's been separated, why Marika has stolen the Great Rune of Death, because she didn't have control over death. Her child did. If Messmer is a demigod offspring from her. Now, I also have the theory that maybe he's also an Empyrean. He may have possibly been the god before her. Maybe he's not actually her child. Maybe it's sort of the other way around. Who knows? We don't really know too much on that. But the biggest thing is that I believe he has the Great Rune of Death. Everywhere he goes in the DLC, it is always him talking about death. It's always him talking about grace. It's always him killing people. Like in the new one, he absolutely obliterates that fucking pinata dude. I mean, it's crazy. The Omens are dying. They're not part of her faction. He's fighting, but you never see them both in the same frame. So I'm guessing that she's not really related in that aspect, or she's trying to make it seem like they're not related, like they're not part of the same faction. Now, I like that idea, and I think it's great, and it fits with sort of the idea, like my last video, if you haven't seen it, check it out, with the erdtree being dead, or it was in the process of dying, and that's why Marika removed it. Or maybe Messmer burned the erdtree as soon as it was born. Who knows? We don't really know. We see her going up in the DLC trailer, the new one for the story, that she's holding her hands above her head, but I think what is more important is what's around her. There are tons of tarnished dead bodies everywhere. Why would she need that much death surrounding her while she's doing whatever the hell she's doing? Well, I think she's making the erdtree. I think the erdtree is really made out of dead people's bodies. It's repurposing those. And just like how whenever you die, you go back to the erdtree, I don't think that's what happens. I don't think you go back to the erdtree to be reborn. I think you're used as a fuel. And of course, Mikola is going to be a big part of this DLC. We see this grace being brought up, and I know this is a little off topic, but what does Mikola's great rune do? I think he has control of the grace, because if you watch carefully, the tarnished, because those people are tarnished, they're touching the grace, right? They're touching what looks like grace, and it flows up to Mikola's great rune. And that's important. I think he's been leading us the whole way. Do I think that Mikola could be evil or good? That's a different story for another video. I don't entirely trust him off the top of my head. We've seen certain things, but nothing's ever worked out. So when we see this dying tree and we see this man who's taking over and everything following up with death, then there's room for speculation that that is his great rune. Now, if you like videos like this, I encourage you to look at the rest of the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, everyone.